In 1950, the United States beat England at the World Cup. England, the country that invented football, beaten by Americans who were mostly part-time players. One of them was a dishwasher. That's not the biggest upset on this list. Not even close. These are the 10 moments where the impossible actually happened, where a tiny nation, an underdog with nothing to lose, walked onto the biggest stage in sports and humiliated the favorites in front of the entire world. Number 10. USA versus England, 1950. England had never entered a World Cup before this. They'd always considered themselves above it, the inventors of the game, too good to compete. When they finally showed up in Brazil, everyone expected them to win the whole thing. The US squad was made up of amateurs, a postal worker, a dishwasher, a few college kids. Final score, USA 1, England 0. The goal was scored by a Haitian-American named Joe Gaetjens, who headed the ball and almost by accident. England hit the post multiple times. The US goalkeeper played out of his mind. Back in England, newspaper editors thought the result was a typo. They assumed someone had made an error and printed a correction before the real score even came in. It wasn't a typo. Number 9. Senegal versus France, 2002. France were the defending World Cup champions. They had Zidane, widely considered the best player on earth at the time. Senegal had never played in a World Cup before. Ever. First game of the tournament. Senegal won 1-0. Not just that, France were eliminated in the group stage without scoring a single goal. The defending champions, knocked out before the knockout rounds even started, didn't score once. Number 8. Algeria versus West Germany, 1982. West Germany had won 2 World Cups. Algeria had never beaten a European nation at a World Cup in their entire history. Algeria won 2-1. The West German players reportedly stood on the pitch after the final whistle, completely silent. They genuinely didn't know what had happened. The Algerian goal celebration became one of the most iconic images in World Cup history, an entire nation erupting over 90 minutes of football. Number 7. North Korea versus Italy, 1966. Italy were giants of world football, multiple World Cup winners. North Korea were so unknown that journalists covering the tournament didn't even bother learning their names properly. North Korea won 1-0. Italy went home. The Italian players were reportedly pelted with rotten vegetables when they landed back in Rome. North Korea then went on to lead Portugal 3-0 in the quarterfinals, before eventually losing 5-3 in what remains one of the greatest individual comebacks in World Cup history. But that first win over Italy, never forgotten. Number 6. Cameroon versus Argentina, 1990. Argentina were defending World Cup champions. They had Maradona, arguably the greatest player who ever lived, fresh off winning the World Cup 4 years earlier. Cameroon were 500-1 outsiders, literally. Some bookmakers wouldn't even take bets on them. Cameroon won 1-0. They also had 2 players sent off, meaning they finished the game with 9 men against 11. They were down to 9 against Argentina with Maradona and still won. Roger Milla, Cameroon's striker who came off the bench to change the game, was 38 years old. In a sport where most players retire by 33, he celebrated his goal by dancing around the corner flag, and that image became one of the most replicated celebrations in football history. Number 5. South Korea versus Germany, 2018. Germany were defending World Cup champions. They'd won it in Brazil just 4 years earlier. They arrived in Russia as one of the heavy favorites to win again. South Korea were already eliminated before this game, had nothing to play for. Germany needed a win to survive the group stage. South Korea won 2-0, both goals in injury time. Germany were eliminated. The entire country of South Korea celebrated, even though it meant nothing for their own World Cup, purely because they'd knocked out Germany. The players wept on the pitch, not from sadness, from disbelief. Number 4. Greece versus Portugal, Spain, France, Czech Republic, Euro 2004. This isn't technically a World Cup, but it belongs on this list because of what Greece did. Greece had never won a major international tournament. Ever. In any sport, basically. Their odds of winning Euro 2004 before the tournament started were 150 to 1. They beat Portugal in the opening game, then Spain, then France, then the Czech Republic, then Portugal again in the final. Every team they faced was ranked higher. Every game they were the underdog. They won the whole thing by playing some of the most disciplined, organized, defensively suffocating football anyone had ever seen. The coach was a 68-year-old German man named Otto Rehhagel, who barely spoke Greek. The players were largely unknowns, and they became European champions. Number 3. Japan versus Germany and Spain, 2022. This one was recent enough that many people remember it. Germany and Spain, two of the most historically powerful nations in world football, combined World Cup titles between them. 5. Japan faced both of them in the same group stage. Japan beat Germany 2-1, coming back from a goal down in the second half, then beat Spain 2-1. Same story, down at halftime, won it in the second half. Japan topped the group above both Germany and Spain. Both of those teams had squads worth over $1 billion. Combined, Japan's entire squad value? A fraction of that. Number 2. Saudi Arabia versus Argentina, 2022. Argentina had Lionel Messi, the greatest player of his generation possibly ever. They had not lost a competitive match in 36 games. 36. That's nearly 3 years without a single defeat. Saudi Arabia went 1-0 down early, then had 2 goals disallowed in the first half. They still came out in the second half and scored twice, won 2-1. The Saudi government declared a national public holiday the next day. Schools and businesses closed. The entire country stopped because 11 footballers beat Argentina. Messi's face after the final whistle became a photograph, a monument to shock. Number 1. USA versus England. Wait, we already covered that? No. Number 1 is something else entirely. Iceland versus England. Euro 2016. Iceland, a country with a population of 330,000 people. To put that in perspective, that's smaller than the city of Tampa, Florida. Iceland had one professional football league. Their players included a part-time dentist and a part-time film director who played international football as a side job. England had a squad worth hundreds of millions, professional players from the biggest clubs in the world. Iceland won 2-1. England were eliminated. After the final whistle, 10% of Iceland's entire population flew to France to watch their team. 1 in 10 citizens got on a plane. The airport in Reykjavik ran out of capacity. Their coach, who celebrated by jumping up and down on the sideline like a kid at a theme park, was also working part-time as a dentist during the tournament. A part-time dentist eliminated England from a major tournament. Football does this, over and over. It takes the script everyone agreed on and tears it up. The resources, the history, the star players, none of it guarantees anything once the whistle blows. Every single upset on this list happened because a group of players believed something the rest of the world didn't. That belief, on the right day, beats talent. That's what makes the World Cup unlike anything else in sport. Any team, any nation, any day. If you want more of this, subscribe. The World Cup is full of stories stranger than this one.